Do you want to take control of your health? Hear the truth about dieting and weight loss? Learn the best strategies for maintaining a healthy lifestyle? This is the Yossi Muller Show.
And welcome to the show. I'm Yossi Muller.
And I'm Duddy Muller.
Duddy is a chef with a background in nutrition.
Yossi is a nutritionist with a background in nutrition.
Every show we do, we take another myth and debunk it.
We crush it.
Today's topic is vegetables are free. People think that if a food is a vegetable, that means you can have as much of it as you want, no matter what the vegetable is.
And that is not true. End of story. And that brings us to the end of the episode. Kidding. We have much more to discuss.
Okay. Yes, because vegetables are very good for you, and they're very easy to include in a diet, and they're very low calorie, but not necessarily free. People think that vegetables are free because some diets consider them free, and certain vegetables are so low calorie that they're free on almost any diet. But if you consider all vegetables to be free, you just might not lose weight with those extra 400 calories that you didn't account for. And when you don't lose weight, then the list of excuses come out.
What's your excuse, Yossi?
My favorite excuse is, I'm bloated. These extra pounds, it's bloating. It's fake weight. It's water weight. It's extra food in my system. These extra 40, 50 pounds that I'm carrying.
The fake pounds.
Yeah. I must have eaten something that's making me bloated. What did I eat 3 years ago that added this 50 pounds of fake weight? A pickle? Could it have been seltzer? I heard seltzer bloats you, or maybe it was soup. Something bloated me, and this extra fake weight is just sitting on me.
That's a wonderful excuse.
And if you don't do that excuse, there are other excuses. The most popular excuses are, I have a slow metabolism.
Oh, yeah.
Or I don't exercise enough. It's not the French fries that I eat for breakfast, lunch, and supper that's causing this weight gain. It's my metabolism.
Oh, of course.
And I don't exercise enough. Now, let me ask you a question. Did you notice that you weigh a different number of pounds in the morning than you do at night?
Yes.
You weigh 2 pounds less in the morning than at night. You lose 2 pounds every single night while you're sleeping. Now, do you have a fast metabolism when you're sleeping? No. You burn calories 25% slower while you're sleeping.
Oh, so you have a slow metabolism when you're sleeping.
So if it's not the metabolism, could you have lost those 2 pounds because you exercised in the past 8 hours? No. So is it the metabolism that gets you to lose those 2 pounds? Is it the exercise that gets you to lose 2 pounds? Or is the obvious fact that you didn't eat for 8 hours and that's why you lost 2 pounds? And that brings to mind another myth, which is that people think that the morning weight is the most accurate. And they only could go on the scale in the morning because that's the most accurate weight. Really, they're lying to themselves. And they know that they're always 2 pounds less in the morning because they've been dieting for 8 hours. And that's why they're going on the scale in the morning, because it feels better to lie to yourself and pretend that you are 2 pounds less. Now, we don't have a problem with people who want to weigh themselves in the morning. We let you. But the problem is that people miss their morning weigh-in, or it's difficult for them to weigh themselves in the morning, so they simply don't weigh because they told themselves that there's something more accurate about the morning weight than some other time. So you see how you build one lie onto another, and you get yourself into trouble. And back to the lie of vegetables are free, let's talk about what free even means.
So, Yossi, what does free mean?
Free means it has calories, but you do not have to count them.
Why wouldn't you have to count the calories?
There could be one or more of a few reasons. One is it might be very low calorie. Or maybe the diet assumes that there's only so much of it that you will end up eating, so it won't add up to too much. Or the diet may have already took into account those calories.
Yeah.
In other words, the diet may have given you fewer calories, taking into account that there are certain so-called free items that have the calories to account for the other calories.
Or the diet might have other criteria or parameters that it uses to control how much you eat.
Another reason maybe is to incentivize those foods. Like you may want to incentivize vegetables because they are filling and they may encourage you to replace other foods.
Vegetables are great in general. They are a very good food to fit into a diet plan, but they have to be part of that diet plan.
And some people will take this notion that vegetables are free, they'll take it even further and assume that any food made from vegetables are free. So this soup is a free soup. Why? Because it's just vegetables. I put in only 1 tablespoon of oil for a whole pot.
Right.
And only 1 potato for a whole pot.
Big mistake.
And they'll say salad is free, even though it might have oil in it.
Right. A simple mistake would be saying salad is free. A silly mistake is saying that even if I put in some feta cheese and olives, which are very high in fat, that's also still free because it's still salad, which is still based on vegetables, which of course we still believe are free. And now we're just going to be ridiculous is adding dressing to salad and still considering it to be free. All started with that one premise that vegetables are free. Do you even know what's in dressing?
Baked vegetables, that's free, even if it has oil, and even if the baked vegetables are 100 calories per serving and mostly carbs. Broccoli kugel, oh, that is so free because even though it has soup mix and mayonnaise and oil and eggs and broccoli, which is not free.
It's so good that the whole food mixed with oil and everything is now good.
Because broccoli is free. Broccoli is so free that it makes all the other ingredients free too.
Calling it a kugel is a trick also. Apple kugel over apple cake. That sounds better, right? A carrot muffin instead of carrot cupcake. So why aren't vegetables free?
And we're going to get to vegetables. Some are free, but vegetables are not necessarily free because vegetables have calories and vegetables have carbs and vegetables are mostly carbs. An onion is 50 calories, mostly carbs. The zucchini is 35 calories.
But I thought it's like a cucumber.
The scale doesn't care what you thought.
I also thought I was losing weight. The scale told me I wasn't.
And a parsnip is 100 calories per cup.
Like potatoes.
And soups start at 100 calories. This whole parsnip thing, it's in every single so-called free soup. It's hilarious. And soups could go up to 500 calories.
So how do vegetables compare to one another?
So before we get to 5 categories of vegetables, starting with most dietetic to least dietetic, we're going to give you some shortcuts. Green is more dietetic than other colors. So lettuce, celery, cucumbers, pickles, broccoli, even green peppers are more dietetic than other colored peppers, and even green cabbage is more dietetic than other colored cabbage. So green is generally more dietetic than other colors. There are some exceptions like avocados, but that's a general rule.
So go green.
Another shortcut is that raw is generally more dietetic than cooked.
Why is that?
A few reasons. One, cooked is like it's more calories because the body does not have to cook it. We burn calories when we process food. And if the food is already cooked, your body doesn't get the discounted calories from having to work to process the food. And 2, you could eat a lot more vegetables when they're cooked. I'll let someone have a raw onion for free. I won't calorie charge them. But a cooked onion, I'll tell them has to count because you're not going to eat a full 50-calorie onion if you're allowed raw onions.
But I could easily eat a whole onion if it's cooked in a soup.
And we're not saying you can't have it. We're just saying it has to count. And cooked vegetables typically have more calories to begin with. You can't cook a cucumber, and cucumbers are very low calorie. And you could cook broccoli, and that's like kind of in between cucumbers and sweet potatoes, which you absolutely have to cook. So whether you could cook it or have to cook it or can't even cook it, that means to begin with, the food has more or less calories.
Okay, you mentioned 5 categories of vegetables. Can we go through those?
So the most dietetic, the vegetables that almost any diet would consider to be completely free, that you can have as much of it as you want. The super watery, low-calorie vegetables include cucumbers, pickles, lettuce, cabbage, and celery. Celery has a reputation of having negative calories, and that's an interesting conversation because if you eat a 10-calorie lettuce stalk and a good number of those calories are fiber, which your body is not going to turn into fat, and it takes a lot of calories to chew the celery.
And then process it in your digestive system.
So an argument is made that celery and perhaps certain other foods are actually negative calories, that your body burns more calories than it actually takes in from this food. Now, the short answer is that there is generally no such a thing as a negative calorie food. However, if you want to get technical, and I like getting technical because you could actually learn some useful information from getting technical. But if you want to get technical, we could make a celery like negative 70 calories if we wanted.
How?
Well, if a person weighs a lot, they burn a lot more calories from chewing, and they also burn a lot more calories from processing food. So if someone who weighs, say, 500 pounds eats celery, they will burn a lot more than 10 calories chewing it and processing it. Also, the temperature if a celery is hot and your body does not have to heat it up, you're not going to burn as many calories as if your celery is cold. If your celery is frozen, then your body will absolutely have to work harder to raise the celery's temperature. And finally, a raw celery is more dietetic than a cooked celery because, like we said, your body has to work to process a raw vegetable more than a cooked vegetable. So there you have it, a negative 70 calorie stalk of celery. But for most people, in most situations, celery is about 0 calories, and which is one of the reasons why I would include in the free list. Now, the next category is the raw salad vegetables that aren't as watery as cucumbers, but tomatoes, peppers, onions.
Those are still pretty good.
I typically tell people that they can include it with their meal without having to account for it, but don't eat it all day long because then it can add up. The next level is the cooked vegetables that are not so starchy, like broccoli, cauliflower, zucchini, hearts of palm, baby corn. They have some calories and carbs, so I wouldn't consider them freebies, but I would consider them very low calorie and very easy to include in a diet. The next category will be the cooked vegetables that are medium starchy. The butternut squash, carrots, beets, eggplant, turnip.
So those are less easy to actually fit in a diet. Many diets won't include these.
Or won't include them as freebies. They will typically charge you for them. Like 2 cups count as a side dish by supper. And the last category is the very high starchy vegetables like parsnip, which no one thinks is starchy or high calorie. And sweet potatoes, and corn, and peas. Those, most diets will consider them like bread.
These are not as easy to fit into a diet and are certainly not free. And when you add oil and you roast them, or you add sugar, make candied sweet potatoes, don't even get me started. Too late. I'm already started.
And some vegetables shouldn't even be considered vegetables. And I'm talking about potatoes, avocados, and olives. And I'm not saying not to eat them. I'm just saying don't consider them vegetables.
People are already upset at you that you're taking away their ice cream and their cake.
And their excuses.
But you're also going to take away their vegetables and say they're not free? Aren't vegetables good?
Well, this notion that there are good foods, and if a food is good, it means that it's completely free and I don't have to count it, that's wrong. And conversely, which food did you mention? The cake and the ice cream? Those aren't off limits. This whole notion of that foods are good and bad, and that if a food is good, you can have as much of it as you want, and if a food is bad, it means it's completely off limits, that's not true either. If a food is so-called bad, that doesn't mean that you can never have it. A guy shows up to shul, Yom Kippur night, and he's ready to do tshuva, but he realizes that he did not do any averis the entire year. Oh no, what do I do? He asks the rabbi, and the rabbi tells him, there's still time. Quickly, go outside, do an avera, and then come back and you could do tshuva. So he quickly leaves, and he's determined to do his avera. He goes to the nearest house, knocks on the door, and sure enough, a guy answers it, and he's greeted with a slap in the face. Good. I slapped the guy in the face. He turns around and he starts heading back to shul. Mission accomplished. And sure enough, the window opens up from the house and the man's wife is there. And she shouts out to the guy who smacked her husband and says, "You have no idea what type of mitzvah you just did." Just because something is bad doesn't mean it's off limits.
Okay.
There's a time and place for everything. And these foods that you consider bad foods aren't off limits. And we need to walk home with a take-home message that is,
just like every food you might eat, you have to look at the calories, the sugar, the protein, the fiber, the fat content of even your vegetables to determine if that food fits in your diet.
And that brings us to the end of this episode.
Thank you for listening.
We hope you join us next time.